again. You know, we've been doing protests, we've been doing marches, we've been doing Delco Pride for about 4 years now. Yes, woo. It has been a massive undertaking. Unfortunately, we find ourselves here, and I'm sure many people had seen the news of the police brutality in Philadelphia, of which we know is racist in its origin, homophobic and transphobic. And of course, there are many leaders in the city that are currently working around the clock to get accountability for our community. So we want to make sure to give them space to do the important work that they're doing. But the images don't lie. UDTJ as an organization was founded after the murder of George Floyd. After in Delaware County, we waited over a week with no protests, no outrage, nothing, silence. Until a bunch of college kids came together and said, we'll do it. We'll do something, anything. Because speaking up is important at this time. So many people have gotten comfortable, whether it be our allies, whether it be politicians, whether it be corporations. And yet we find ourselves at the end of the stick all the time. Since Delco Pride was founded, we have lost more rights nationally every single year. Now, obviously in Delco, I'm a little bit proud of them. You know, we've made some advances out here. But there's a lot of work to be done, which is why so many of you are here today. And also, for so long, we've been in these fights separately. And I think for the first time ever, we're trying our best to build coalitions and to work with our partners in Philadelphia, to work with our partners in Montgomery County and Chester County, to actually pressure our state. Last year, we had our very first march on Harrisburg in over 10 years. Yes, yes, cheer that. It was a massive undertaking. And you know what? We hope to do it again this year. And we're going to keep doing it until we get executive orders from our governor protecting gender-affirming care, until we get, well, I'm not going to get into politics, but if we win the Senate, we got a lot of work to do to make sure that our community gets the rights that they deserve. I could go on and on. Honestly, it's hot as hell. But most importantly, I think this heat really just shows how important this issue is to all of us. You know, I'm not speaking much on queer rights or just same-sex marriage or anything, because the truth is the focus needs to be on gender-affirming care and it needs to be on our trans community. I'm not that fluent. I don't have really much more to say, except for I do have a couple other speakers that I'm going to invite up that are going to talk to you about some very important issues in our community. I have the wondrous, amazing, glorious Naiymah Sanchez.
I love the bullhorn because this takes me back to when I first came into movement, 2008, right? Before it was all of these stages and microphones set up for us, right? So we have come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. So good afternoon, Delco and Delco Pride goers. I'm Naiymah Sanchez. I use she, her pronouns, and I stand before you today as a transgender woman of color, a proud Philadelphian, and someone who was recently reminded why prides are important. Last Sunday in Philly, what should have been a moment of joy and celebration was met with fear. For many of us, it was a painful reminder that even in 2026, our communities are still forced to fight for the simple right to exist free. It echoed in the feelings of our friends and ancestors experienced more than 50 years ago at the Stonewall Inn when police turned joy into fear and resistance into necessity. That is why Pride is more than just a celebration. Pride is a protest. Pride is a declaration that we will not be pushed back into the shadows. Pride is our commitment to one another, to the generation that comes after us, and to the people who are here today. Today, I want every person here to know that your existence is important. Your voice has power. Every time you show up as your authentic self, you challenge the world that too often tells us that we should be invisible. But our work is not done. Community liberation requires all of us. It requires our collective action, our collective courage, and our collective commitment to building a world where everyone can thrive and live free from discrimination and fear. That is what we've seen right after the issues in Philly at Pride. Our community came together. We were outraged at what we've seen on the cameras, on social media, how the cops targeted black and brown folks, right? We see that this is the disparities that we continue to talk about, right? That there are pride for some because they feel as though they can have it. But like Marsha P. Johnson said, there can be no pride for some without liberty for all. And so that is why you are important. This is why today and every day, your pride, your visibility, your support is important. So y'all continue to show up. Whether it's 1, whether it's 50, whether it's 10,000, right? We will continue to show our pride. We will continue to resist a fascist government, and we will continue to love on one another because we take care of each other. I love you, Delco. Happy Pride.
Our next speaker that I have coming up is actually with something that's happening here in Delco that we really wanted to call attention to. And it may seem out of place at first, but remember that one person's liberation struggle is everyone's liberation struggle. And that's what we try to do here at Pride, is be inclusive and uplifting of our other communities and spreading awareness. So I want to actually invite up some representatives from the Swarthmore 9 to speak. Thanks so much to UDTJ for having us up here. My name is Mara, this is Winnie, and this is Jace. We are all members of the Swarthmore 9. What's the Swarthmore 9? Just over a year ago, Swarthmore Students for Justice in Palestine launched the Hassam Shabbat Liberated Zone, a pro-Palestine encampment named after the martyred Palestinian journalist to protest Swarthmore College's investments in the genocide. Only 3 days after the encampment's establishment, with the college outright refusing all attempts at negotiations, Swarthmore called over 40 cops from 8 different Delaware County municipalities to arrest 9 of us for sitting on a publicly used lawn peacefully for something we believed in. Shame. Swarthmore pushed Delco DA Tanner Rouse to press charges against us, and now we are facing up to a year in prison. Swarthmore brought this state violence against us for the first time since the student activists during the civil rights movement shook their racist administration to the core for the sole reason that we sought to expose and end Swarthmore's $2.7 billion endowment's investment in genocide. One of Swarthmore's most genocidal investment partners is Cisco Systems, the largest networking company in the world. They are the leading provider of servers to the Israeli military and integral to the Israeli occupation's technological infrastructure. Its hardware comprises Israel's largest data center, as well as housing the AI programs that the occupation uses to systematize their slaughter of Palestinians. Cisco Systems literally powers the genocide of the Palestinian people, and Swarthmore pays them to do it.
Shame. Shame.
For this reason, our central demand was and is for Swarthmore to cut all ties with Cisco Systems as part of a full divestment from the genocide in Palestine. We think this is a really moderate and reasonable demand. And instead of meeting this with any negotiation, Swarthmore rapidly escalated to violent arrests. Now, some of you might be wondering, like Cahill said, why are we talking about this at Pride? And I think, first, Pride began as an uprising, like both speakers have talked about. Poor gay people and trans people, largely of color, united with homeless kids, and for 3 nights beat back the cops that abused and oppressed them day in and day out. Many, if not all of us, know that this abuse and oppression has not gone away. We live in a time when so many seek to turn back the clock, to undo the gains that the masses of gay and trans people fought for decades. We cannot let this happen. Pride means fight back. Pride means rise up, especially against the police, the violent arm of the capitalist state. The police were the enemies of LGBTQ+ people then, and they are our enemy now, as we saw last weekend. It is the cops that raided one of Philly's few gay bars in February for no good reason. It is the cops that last weekend beat and arrested dozens of black and brown people just for trying to celebrate Pride in their historic neighborhood. And it is the police of Delaware County who violently arrested 5 transgender activists, more than half of the Swarthmore 9, just for demanding justice for Palestine. I am one of those trans people, obviously, and as a trans woman, I am acutely aware of the risks of a prison sentence. For trans women in prison, transphobic and homophobic violence is common. Hormones and other necessary medical care is often withheld. Rape is a matter of course, and often encouraged by guards. Swarthmore claims that they did this to protect the most vulnerable. But by refusing to ask DA Tanner Rouse to drop the charges, they are showing their true colors. Their investments are worth more to them than the safety of the trans people they had arrested. DA Rouse, who I have been told wishes to paint himself as some sort of progressive, and who could drop these charges by himself anytime he wants at the stroke of a pen, is showing that he feels the exact same way. All of us were aware of these risks when we chose to stand for Palestine. But we feel it is our duty to show that we understand how all of our struggles are deeply intertwined. I don't know where that sign went, but someone had one that said that, which was cool. This is especially true in the struggle for Palestinian liberation. Israeli propaganda attempts to paint to the world that it is a gay oasis, while they use dating apps to blackmail and abuse gay Palestinians. Not to mention that their bombs do not discriminate between gay and straight when they wipe out entire families. Those who want our hard-won rights rolled back here are the same that want to kill Palestinians over there. We refuse to be used as a prop for Israel's genocide. It is the duty of all oppressed people to stand with all other oppressed people so that we might make common cause against our common enemy. Delco takes a lot of pride, pun intended, in its support for LGBT people. As a sanctuary county, has specific anti-discrimination provisions, which is awesome, and it is right to be proud of that. Especially at a time when so many are retreating from the fight. At a time when that fight is needed most of all. We ask you, as gay and trans brothers and sisters and siblings, on this day commemorating when our movement was at its boldest and bravest, we ask you to take that fighting spirit to DA Tanner Rouse. Tell him to stop putting trans people at risk for standing up for dignity, justice, and liberation, just as those at Stonewall did for all of us. Tell him to drop the charges against the Swarthmore 9. Thank you.
Hello, all you beautiful queers and allies! Sorry. My name is Wade, my pronouns are he, they. I want to thank you all for coming out today to support not only the queer community, but our immigrant neighbors here in Upper Darby too. Seeing you all here, every face, every flag, every wonderful soul in the crowd, it fills me with, well, pride.
In the face of absolute adversity, under the rule of a fascist government, y'all have come out here with us to show love for our immigrant neighbors, to show love for the LGBTQ community, to smile, dance, share delicious foods, share the company of one another, and share the love our intersectional community has to offer. This is a deliberate act of joy, and joy is resistance. We are community. We are siblings, parents, friends, family, neighbors, lovers. We are radical love incarnate. That very love we share has the power to move mountains when we use it with the combined force and will of we the people. When our kidnapped neighbors at the Delaney concentration camp called out for help, a protest still ongoing showed up to support them, to make the horrors inside known, to demand the end to this tyranny and free those kidnapped. We are the legacy of our elders, of the Stonewall generation. The first Pride was a riot, and no matter how much rainbow capitalism the oligarch tyrants try to sell us as they strip away our rights, dismantle DEI, and try to stomp us out, we will prevail! We honor our elders today as we gather despite all odds against us, in every color, sexuality, gender, and religion, as community, as a force that keeps us safe. We are here, standing together and celebrating the beauty that is each other, the beauty that is community. Together we are strong, our voices join, and we lift each other up. The first Pride was a riot, and if the fascist pigs and their oligarch handlers refuse to meet our demands to free all people and institute real and lasting change to protect our most vulnerable, we will give them revolution!